goats, grub, grievances, and more on the premiere episode of Love at First Flight After Show.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Come fly with me, let's fly.
Wow.
So classy.
Oh my God. I would be a little nervous if I were on a plane and that started happening, but we're here tonight. You guys, welcome to the after show for the premiere episode of Love at First Flight on Lifetime. I am your host, Lauren, and I have with me here...
I'm Jenifer Golden. And I'm Stacey Olivas.
You guys, we are going to talk about what went on this show, the first episode. I'm just going to sort of go over it in general. I wasn't sure what I was going to think about this idea and how they were going to make it different from other dating shows. And then with like in 1 minute of the episode, I was like, oh my God, this is cray. Like, would you go on this show?
Yes, and I'm mad that I didn't get invited on it because I feel like it would be the chance of a lifetime, really.
It would be, honestly.
It sure would. So I think that it's a really interesting concept because it combines like travel and dating and relationships, and also like all the rules of dating, basically, because we'll get into that.
Like, what do you mean the rules of dating?
Like, just giving people a chance, being open-minded, trying new activities, just rolling with the punches, being flexible, chemistry, whether they have it or not. All kinds of things. I think that it's really just like the true test of everything that you could possibly be thrown at when dating. More so than like Bachelor in Paradise, when you get to date with other people and be in one place the entire time.
That's almost like throwing the rules out the door. This is like paying attention to the rules.
Right.
Like really committing to it. Would you go on, Stacey?
I definitely would go on because it really looks at the compatibility of the two people.
For sure.
And I think I liked a lot about this is when they're traveling, like you kind of see how people are when they're traveling, like who's the planner? Who's not the planner? Who's the one that's more easygoing? Who's the one that has to be calculated and in control? Like, I loved that and seeing that, and I think that's great, a great dynamic for a relationship. Like, you need someone kind of a little opposite from you. Like,
you could, if that's what works for you. Exactly. They mentioned this on the show. A couple of the couples said, like, this experience is basically expediting this dating process. And it's true. It's like, if you were to move in with someone right away, you would start to see all the things that, like, you sort of let slip under the rug, slide under the radar a little bit until a couple months in. Like, you don't have a choice. These people have to work together to do their challenges. They're with each other in close quarters. And you guys, don't you feel like chemistry is like, with this episode, I feel like chemistry is like the name of the game, because it is their meeting. You're watching two strangers meet. Now, granted, I didn't realize this until the start of the show, because I'm thinking, well, this is never going to work. These people are like randoms. How are you? They were put together by a matchmaker. So,
which I love, and I feel like that is going to be really fun to see how it plays out, like why they put these people together. Like, when obviously we meet these couples in this episode, we see people and we're like, are you sure those two were supposed to be together? But we don't know what this matchmaker saw.
Who did you think that about?
I thought that about
Alma?
No,
I did.
Jenna and Kale.
Oh, Jenna and Kale, I didn't. I thought that about Jenna and Kale once I met them. Initially, I looked at Alma and her partner Mike, and was like, "Oh, I don't know."
I don't see it.
And this is why, because we have all been on. Are you single, Stacey?
I'm single. Yeah.
Okay, Jenna's single. I was single forever, and now I'm in a relationship. But we've all obviously dated, and LA is like really hard to date. And Jen and I have a podcast called It's Complicated, and we talk about it, and it's like, you can talk about it for hours. And these chemistry is like the one thing. Jen, you said the matchmaker is like your favorite part. That's awesome. I agree. But like, you can't make the chemistry. So we're watching on this episode the moment where the chemistry happens. You've been on a date before where you're like, I knew like in 3 seconds that I didn't like him, or vice versa, right? That's what I think chemistry is. It's like that gut feeling that you feel right away. I thought that about Alma and Mike at first. I was like, oh, I don't know if I see chemistry. And we'll get into breaking down the couples, but I feel like, and if that was present or not from the beginning, but I feel like we were really seeing a lot of that.
I think it's also probably hard to find chemistry like when there's cameras on you.
You're nervous.
Like it is a complete stranger. You don't know what's in store for you. You don't even know what your challenge is yet. So like I think there's a lot working against them that might like play into seeing things straight. And obviously they are supposed to be together for like 30 days if they make it. So I think every day will probably get either easier or harder depending on the couple and whether they actually do have that chemistry and get comfortable with each other or find out that they're really different. I mean, I want to know if this matchmaker is correct and like how can I get her number?
Right.
Because if she does like pick these people and they really are great like choices for each other, then it's like she's obviously on to something.
We have to trust too that this matchmaker is putting these couples together because we all know that this is TV and it's reality TV. So are they putting them together thinking these two are going to be so fun to watch because they are going to freaking hate each other? Or are we really trying to match them together? I feel like maybe that might be Kale and Jenna.
I kind of wish, though, that there was an element of this show that broke it down. Like, if they didn't use dating apps, what did they use? You know, like...
Wait, what do you mean?
Like the criteria of each person. So, like, why they put this person with this person. Okay. This person stacks up because of the following criteria. Like, almost like stats in a football game. Like, when you see, like, a quarterback stats.
Right.
Or, like, even on a dating app. Like, you see somebody's, like, either their height or their job or whatever it is. Like, I'd love to see why these two people were put together.
Yeah.
I really think they looked at like the compatibility and things that were important to them, like their values. Like we were looking at, I think it was Michael and Stephanie, and how they were saying like faith was really important to them.
Right.
So I think they really look at those things, and then they kind of put like the type of personality maybe, like kind of use like a Myers-Briggs test, you know, that kind of thing test.
Yeah. Yes.
Introvert, extrovert, like what describes you, I think. But I would love to know, because that would be so much more, I mean, interesting to add to this show.
I agree, and I just wonder, to be real, because I know everyone's probably thinking it, are these some of these couples paired together for drama?
That's true.
Maybe they aren't. Maybe they really just want these couples to like make it. I just am having a hard time seeing it with especially one of the couples that we'll get into. It's like they just are. But you know, anyway, it's also a testament to things on paper can really match up nicely, and then
you leave it to chemistry.
You leave it to chemistry, or those things can go wrong, or you have to be clear about what you want as a person. Sometimes we think, I know I have before, like I want this type of guy, or I like this. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe when it's given to me, I'm like, oh, or I thought I liked that, but I don't really, or it doesn't work well with me, or who knows. But
well, I wonder if these people were even asked what they're looking for versus like what they believe in or what their morals are and what
they are.
Right. Like, so maybe it was just about them, and then they matched up the people with somebody that like this matchmaker would complement that person with. I wonder if we could get a hold of this matchmaker. Like that would be like a really fun goal to like have that person maybe even call in, or if they're in LA by any chance.
Tweet us or find us in the chat. Where can everyone chat with us, guys?
On the YouTube right now, we're on the live chat.
And let us know if you guys know how to figure out who this matchmaker is.
Help us find the matchmaker.
Because maybe we can get this matchmaker, he or she, to come on a show and dish, because we want to know.
Oh yeah, and give us some advice on how to find the right match if we don't have a matchmaker, because that's crucial. Yes. Otherwise, we all have to go on the show, guys.
Yeah, you guys. I also like the idea of this show sort of taking, it's a new show, it's a very new idea. I kind of like that they're taking some old tried and true things from like The Bachelor, with the like this first episode was like there was like a fantasy suite element.
But not together, which was interesting. I like that though, because if you just shove these people together on the first night,
it's kind of like rushing it.
It's just like, I feel like #MeToo. Like, it's very too soon.
Too soon, unless they decided to, like, it's kind of,
forego
their separate rooms for the fantasy suite. I mean, I kind of liked that. It was a little different than The Bachelor, but it gave you that familiarity, like a goal to attain, like something to work towards, because they're obviously not really knowing each other yet. So they're sort of getting to know each other, and they obviously don't want to stay in a crappy place and want to stay in a nice place. So that's what they're kind of trying to go for. You guys, also there is, the slow burn versus the instant chemistry, and we will get into that topic a little bit more and advice on that, and whether we think that's helpful in real life or helpful for this show, because right now it seems like the ones that have chemistry are gonna work well. But maybe that chemistry equals like a lot of passion, and maybe they're gonna fight hard and love hard at the same time. And maybe the ones that like slowly get to know each other might work better together because they're like taking the time.
Right.
Or maybe not. So we'll get into that. Jen, do we have a favorite podcast that we listen to besides our podcast, It's Complicated?
We do.
We do.
Guys, if you want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of your life, well, for those who do, we've got a podcast for you, Conversations with Maria Menounos. Podcast Edition is hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. So, guys, you know, Conversations with Maria features celebrity influencer interviews along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of life, from health and wellness to career and relationships, finances, and more. Let our Maria be the big sister you never had and wanted. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free. Be sure to rate and comment, and when you do, let Maria know it was us, the Love It First Flight girls, who got you there.
Yes.
Conversations with Maria Menounos, Podcast Edition. Check it out.
Yeah, it's awesome, you guys. And we love her openness about dating and relationships because that's what we like to talk about here. And also, guess what we're doing, if you didn't see? We're drinking wine because
Surprise.
we feel like we're on a date talking about dates. And what do you do when you're dating? You drinking and dating.
Also,
It's
when
all
you
the same.
fly and travel, you drink too.
Heck to the yes. So, all right, you guys, let's get into breaking down the couples because we have a lot to say about each one of them and what we thought about this initial meeting. Let's start with the first couple, Stephanie and Ryan. They were starting at Niagara Falls. Did anyone else feel like they had like the best date too? Like the other ones had like crappy dates, I thought.
This one was the most like bachelor-y.
Yeah.
And it was like, fantastical kind of. They got like a fun date. The other ones had to do like stupid
Like labor.
and like shovel goat poop. Sorry.
Listen, a little goat is cute, let's be honest.
And maybe they do. Yeah, that little goat was real
But we'll
cute.
talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about them later. But okay, so what did you guys think initial, them meeting together within the first 3 seconds of them meeting? What was your first prediction?
I think she was super cute, super like outgoing kind of. He was a little awkward, a little bit more shy, taken back. I think maybe that would help. I mean, their chemistry might work well together because she seemed more outgoing, bubbly. He was kind of like stiff, awkward.
Totally.
But,
Do you think they had an instant connection? No.
I don't think so.
I actually felt like it was painful to watch them. But also, I think maybe I just like was uncomfortable with the whole scenario of strangers meeting. Like it brought me back to like my dating, or at least I get to talk to people first and like sort of like ease into it.
Yeah, they were
These two were like completely strangers.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I felt like he seemed young and awkward, and like she seemed like she's a singer, like a wedding singer. So like I feel like she's got a lot of like vibrance and like soul and like warmth, and he felt just very stiff and like young and a little maybe like nerdy.
Little. How much younger was he than her?
Like only like 2 years.
Yeah, they weren't that far apart in age. I felt her excitement initially. Like even before, she was like, "We're going to Niagara Falls," and then they met, and I felt like I was watching an immediate chemistry happening, like
Really?
instantly. Yes, she was like, "He's cute," and he was like, "Oh my God, she's really pretty," and like I felt like they had an instant chemistry. But I don't disagree with you. It was awkward because it's awkward, and they're both nervous, and they didn't know what to expect, but. I then thought that their date was interesting. I didn't know in comparison to the rest of them, it was the best date, except for they were having to get wet on the date.
Awkward.
And
So
that
weird.
was weird.
So weird.
I was like, do we maybe not want to use that? It's weird.
Maybe that was their version of pushing the boundaries.
They awkwardly laughed at that too. So I was like,
scripted, so scripted.
yeah.
I know.
And so he has an illness.
Yeah, some congenital heart thing, or
Yes.
I mean, I don't, not to make light of it because I know that it's serious, and he like lost all this weight, and he thought he was going to die, and I think it's interesting that he opened up to tell her that like pretty early on,
Yeah.
and
I don't know if he felt like he had to because it affected like where he was at in his life, and so felt like he needed to tell her that, or if he was just maybe she made him feel really comfortable.
Maybe, but also why did they have him do all these like high energy activities with
that's so true.
like
oh my god,
like heart condition,
water boating thing, and then also going in a helicopter. Like,
right. And they made the challenge. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. But they made the helicopter thing more about her. Like, to me, the other dates felt like challenges, and this one felt like a fun date. But then they milked this like, I'm afraid of helicopters. I have to drug myself to get on a plane. I'm like,
she didn't look like she needed to be drugged that much. She just got on it.
I feel like they just planned a cool date, but then they were like, oh, poop. This looks like it's kind of fun in comparison. Let's make it about overcoming her fear.
Yeah, well, and of course he was there to like help her out. That's very Bachelor style too, where like you rely on somebody.
In a helicopter. Yeah.
All they needed was a rose.
Although I would love to go to Niagara Falls and do that thing they did. How fun did that look?
It was beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so
first date, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. I felt like they were good at communicating, and they were, to me, they seemed like an obvious choice, and that they were going to be really good together and they were going to work together. Of course, at the end of the episode, they gave like a tease, and they seemed to show some horrible moments between them, but I was like, oh my god, these two are going to get married.
Really?
Yes, I totally think.
Maybe because they're like opposites too. Like he's more like introverted and she's more outgoing, like bringing him out of his shell and stuff like that. Maybe.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, let's move on to the next couple. Jenna and Kale.
First of all, any human named Kale is immediately lettuce.
Well, listen, I know somebody named Kale, and he's probably about the same age as this Kale. So I feel as though maybe it was like a popular name then. But yes, his name is Kale. Kale seems very uptight and differently than Jenna. Jenna also seems uptight, but in their own ways. I had a very difficult time watching Jenna. I thought she was really annoying.
She was kind of rude and just like too much, kind of like a stick up her butt.
I like that Kale noticed that though, like the way he described her I felt was like a really accurate description, where he said that she was like negative and off-putting, and that it like, you know, obviously he didn't like that she had a bad attitude. I mean, the things she was saying like out loud, I was like, oh, that's a odd thing to say. Like, she basically said she's not easygoing. She doesn't eat certain things. Like, she doesn't like certain things. She's not good at direction. She's not good at this.
I don't read maps.
Right. It's like, what are your selling points again?
Also,
what are you doing?
You can figure out New York is a grid. So the streets go like 50, 51, 52, 53. And then there's this big ass park in the middle of the city. Central Park in the center. And there's a west side and an east. It's not, anyway.
Or just say, I'm not the greatest at this, but I will try and help you. I can be your like helper, or I can spot landmarks, or I'm really good at Googling. Just find a redeeming quality that's not, I don't do windows, basically, is what she was saying.
Yeah. Do you guys think that, this just came to me, do you think that she instantly wasn't attracted to him, so she was just like, meh?
Maybe. Yeah.
I think maybe had she been, she would have, you know, like people say it's only far if you don't want to go. Like, you know, you get invited to a party and you're in LA and you don't want to sit in an hour of traffic because you're like, I don't really want to go to my friend's birthday tonight or whatever. But then, you know, there's like suddenly a cute guy the same distance and like, hey, come meet me for a drink. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Even if you're in your jammies.
Totally. So I feel as though if she was attracted to Kale, I wonder if she would have been less of a bitch.
Yeah.
Potentially.
He was a cute guy, though. I didn't think he was.
But he also, guys, don't you think he seemed a little on the not straight side?
He was a little femme.
You were getting a gay vibe from Kale.
And it could just be that he's...
maybe he wasn't putting out any sexual energy because Jenna is...
he was totally turned off.
They were not a match made in heaven, but it will be so interesting, and I think that's why the show is going to be fun to watch throughout the season, is that, like, maybe those two are the ones that the opposites attract, or, like, they're the ones who end up, like, hashing it out and then, like, get through the hard stuff first. And because there's, like... no pretense, and they're not like, oh my god, I have to act a certain way because I think that guy's so cute. Instead, they're going to be themselves, and maybe that's what works.
They're going to be themselves, and their emotions aren't going to be involved necessarily, which kind of clouds your choice making sometimes. And maybe they'll end up being, listen, I would not be able to sit here and say they're going to end up loving each other, but they might be the ones who can complete the challenges the best.
Potentially.
Maybe.
And I feel like this is weird. I like while watching it, I saw that, you know, he's very calculated. She's more like free spirit, like whatever, I'm not going to do it. I don't plan. I don't do this. And I feel like that kind of works out a little bit better than other couples.
Yeah.
Somewhat, maybe because I personally like relate to this. So I kind of found that like career-wise and stuff of who she dates, like it seems like she would match more with someone
So
like
wait,
that.
do you date like opposite from?
Well, I teach also,
Okay.
and like my ex-boyfriends, one was an attorney, one was a doctor. So I felt like they were very calculated, and I'm more like, but I'm not. Don't have a stick up my ass like
Yeah, no, you don't.
Like, I mean,
know.
I'm more easygoing, but I'm like, I don't really plan a lot of stuff, my weekends and stuff like that. So I felt
But when
like
you say it, you probably say it just like that and cute and charming.
Yeah.
When she says it, she's like,
yeah, she's
that's
just-
why I equate it to like windows. She's like, I don't do
Yeah.
maps.
Oh,
I
she
said,
was horrid. So wait, what grade do you teach?
I teach special ed, like little ones.
Okay, so
toddlers.
little, so younger. So like her, you're around kids. Did you catch when he said, "So you teach kids? Do you like being around kids?" And she goes, "I do." But I also like going home to quiet. I was like, oh, here it comes. Like you could tell right then and there. She was just like,
She doesn't like anything.
And it's like, I get it. I used to work with kids too, so I get it. You want your alone time.
Yeah,
It's a lot of energy and work, but like she just was like, it felt as though he was trying to open up and be very open-minded because you could.
He was trying.
He
kept trying.
was a nice guy. Like
Yeah.
I think he was totally
Totally.
easy to get along with. Like why are you not having fun and like?
Well, also they put them on a food tour. That was their challenge. Okay, and like
So yeah, sorry, they
and
were
it
on a
wasn't,
food.
obviously not Niagara. Like they were not going to Niagara Falls and doing beautiful things. They were doing a food tour, and obviously at some point they probably interviewed her, and she did probably say, "I don't eat certain things."
Yes.
which set up this already cranky
Yeah.
girl to be extra cranky because she couldn't eat things. She's probably mad at the producers and mad at him and mad at life. Doesn't know where she's going, and like everything about it, like they were set up, I think, for disaster and drama. So there was very little like she could do. I mean, somehow they completed the task, but
Yeah, I feel like, yes, of course, like we said, this show is cast. The show, of course, we want them to match, and I'm sure there's a lot of that goes into putting these people together. But at the same time, we want to watch something go down. And so this is what they're planning on for this. I do think, though, yes, there's probably not much she could do. If she had a more positive personality, she could have, and she liked him, she could have been like, so describe to me what you're eating. How does that taste? Like she
Like
could
more
have been
flirty.
totally. I don't believe that I'm seeing her liking this. You know, there's no chemistry, so
Yeah.
she's like, ugh, not only is she annoyed, but now she's like, I don't even like want to think about making sex with you. So
oh my god, well that gross egg thing at the end that he has to eat. I mean, I'm sure that was like a really special dish, but like I was gonna barf too, and I eat eggs. It was just horrendous.
I
looking.
mean, it was.
looked
What
like
did she
moldy
say?
egg.
She described it as something, and she made it even worse when she described it. Poor guy was probably just trying to swallow and like get it over with because he had to literally. She ate one thing.
Yeah.
And it was like sweet potatoes or whatever it was.
Also, like, how are you going to go on a travel show when you can't eat anything?
I don't know how this is going to work.
If those two end up together, like
You guys, we
I'd
will
so
be eating
set
our
up.
words.
Yeah.
Like, there is zero chance that is going to happen. I am making a very not bold prediction right now and saying hell to the no to Jenna and Kale.
Well, in the trailer, though, or the teaser for next week, I mean, forget about our predictions, but they show him holding a ring.
They did. They showed him holding a ring.
And that could be just like
They're
stills shot before
They
the whole
are.
season.
I feel like they're gonna do that when they get to that point. They're gonna be like, "Is it gonna be Kale and Jenna? Shot of him. Is it gonna be Mike and And they're all gonna do it. I don't think. I mean, there's just no chance. I will like legit. I don't. What should I do if they? I'll take like 2 shots of tequila
Yes.
on air if Jenna and Kale
I feel
end
like
up
that
together.
benefits you, though.
I know.
Like,
No.
you have to eat something gross.
It's
or like,
fine. I'll do that
A
too.
grasshopper.
You have to wear
grasshopper
something
taco?
stupid.
No, you guys, that's fine. I'll do all of those things, but I don't like tequila, so that's difficult for me.
Fine, that's true.
I mean, also, it's not going to happen, so it's not even going to be an issue.
I want you to be wrong just because I want to learn a lesson in relationships and that these two opposites
If
can
they-
actually, if you persist and you stick it out with somebody, like in the old-timey times where people were set up and you had to
It's like an arranged marriage.
Right. So this is their arranged marriage.
Guys.
Maybe you just learned to love someone because he ate all the weird crappy food and she got
and
to just hang
protected
out.
you, yeah. Like, and then all of a sudden you just wake up one day and you look at them differently.
And
That
you're
could,
like, wow.
they could be, they are. They're using like ancient ideas of, you know, like betrothal and arranged marriages with the like nuances of the modern world and the
traveling
connecting of people, like instant connection of people, and they're like blending those two ideas together. And we next met, we are going to move on to our third couple, Alma and Mike. And you guys, I looked at Alma and was like, holy crap, that girl's super sexy. She had like these big, huge boobs with this like low cut shirt on. And she like just was, you know, some women like Angelina Jolie, they just look sexy. Some women, like, in my opinion, Jennifer Aniston, beautiful, but like, I don't know that I would describe her or Julia Roberts as sexy. I would describe them more like girl next door, but beautiful, like your friend. Alma is like, whoa. Like, I don't care if she's not your type or not. Like, she's a sexy woman. And I was wondering, like, is Mike gonna, he looked like he just came out of like the military kind of, right? He was like very straight, buttoned up. And I wondered about their first meeting. What did you guys think of their initial chemistry right off the bat? Like, they walked and saw each other, and like, what was your first thought?
Nah.
No, that they weren't gonna like each other.
I think she came off like more strong, like kind of like, you know, sexy, and he kind of was like stiff and like, I don't know what to do. He probably thought she was hot, but I mean, he did think she was hot.
Yeah.
But
Well, I feel like she also has a lot of like sass and like
she's Puerto Rican and Mexican, and she's from Chicago, so she's like,
there's a lot going on there, and I feel like he's a little bland for her potentially. But maybe there's more there, and I think like we sort of see that like as the episode unfolds, that like he's got a lot of layers. He's really interested. He thought they had a great time. She was like, I need to run for the hills. Like, I don't think I can do this.
oh my God, you guys, she flip-flopped hard.
Yeah.
Like, so I initially thought, well, what did you think of their first?
I thought they really, I don't know. I thought she was into it at first, and then it was like surprisingly that he was so into it, because it doesn't seem like he was that into it. But I just guess his demeanor,
yeah, he might have been just more reserved.
Yeah, more reserved. And
I agree. I feel like she walked into meeting him and her excitement was like, okay, he looked like Prince Charming. That's what she said. Now, if that's a good thing or not, I don't know. I read it as a good thing. And they both said, I'm less nervous now that you're here. Like, I feel more relieved. So I was taking that as that they kind of liked what they were seeing. I thought that they were the next ones on the level of chemistry, in my opinion, that were like feeling it. I definitely did not see it with Jenna and Kale. I for sure thought the first couple, Stephanie and Ryan, were like really into each other right away. I would say Alma and Mike came second for me. I felt like they kind of liked each other, but they were like not really. I think that Alma is like, this is not the type of guy I normally go for, but I feel like, why wouldn't I? Type of a thing. And I think that she kind of is attracted to him. And I think she is sexy, so he's like, well, geez, why would I not? You know, I don't know. I think there's something there. They're going to be the sneak and attack couple.
they need to drink a little bit more.
Something. But also, I sort of felt like she, like what you're saying, where she like didn't envision him as her type, where like he's just the nice guy and like not exciting because he is more quiet and like reserved than she is, because I mean, she's just a personality and a force. But
yes,
I think she ultimately wasn't attracted to him. But when she like broke down and cried and was like, maybe I do deserve the nice guy, I'm like, what? This seems like some producer got in your head and told you that, I don't know what, they gave her some weird therapy session because she came out of that emotional and like changed her tune and made it to the next day. And I'm very curious as to like what they say. Okay, well, you know, it's gonna get more romantic down the line, or like we talk to the matchmaker and like, you know, you're gonna find out this stuff about him that's really great and more your type, like just let it unfold or something, because she totally did an about face emotionally.
Yeah, she did.
She was like, I am running, I gotta go.
Well, okay,
maybe because the guys she's dated in the past have been like pretty douchey and stuff,
Yes.
and this is the nice guy
This
that
is
she
what-
needs to take a chance on. And so that's what maybe they're like you said, they're pushing her to like, and there's probably a lot of pressure on them.
There
right
is,
now.
and I think that they probably go into this idea being fed, and I think you should. This show is a show, but it's also kind of indicative. There are some really like fundamental lessons that we talked about at the opening of the show, like rules of dating, if you will, if there are any, but like being open-minded is like, you cannot go into a date. I don't care if you've seen the person or not seen the person, being closed-minded for whatever reason. If you have a part of you that is like fundamentally closed off, it is not going to freaking work. I do not care. So they know that they have to go into this and be open-minded. And for whatever reason, that is her lesson right now. She is really trying to be open-minded. And I feel like, yes, I get the vibe from her that this is not the type of guy she normally dates. I'm just going to go out on a limb and be like, listen, this girl's got flavor. She's from like a city, and she's from Chicago, and she likes flavor. And this guy looks like a white, uptight guy to her. And she's like, what the heck is this? That's what I'm just going to assume. And I think that this guy, he's Italian and Irish. He's from New York. He's got some flavor. And she's starting to see it. When they had their date was a spray paint challenge art.
Yeah.
Which, again, like, Niagara Falls was so much better.
It's just very
They really dropped the ball. But they had to fill this spray paint wall in together by like a certain time, and they did. And they got to stay in a nice hotel because of it, like everyone else. But I honestly think they had a little chemistry there. And even he said, I feel like I maybe was getting a friend vibe, but I kind of feel like she likes me. Like, he was sort of like getting both from her. And also, in all fairness, like, you don't know each other. So yes, are they going to be good friends, or are they going to be into each other? This is sort of the normal process. When you date men, do you feel like you normally like know right away and it's like instant for you, or do you feel like it's a slow burn?
I think I know right away, but if they don't make me physically ill, then I'll give them another date. And if they, again, don't make me like just not like them, I will give them a third date.
Third date is a
and then
rule.
after that, you like got to cut your losses for each party, because if you don't feel anything, like it's really challenging to start feeling something
after date number 3.
Yeah, but like, I think, this is obviously that expedited thing that we're talking about. And so if they're on a first date and it happens to be a traveling date and they don't dislike each other and have their skin crawl, then they should give it another day. It's
like Alma and Mike.
Right, like they're staying in separate rooms. I might have even said the same thing as her, like, I want to run. Like, because Lord only knows, like, if I don't like somebody on the first date, I'm like, why am I going to go back? But I'm like, okay, hold on. Maybe I need to get to know them. Maybe, like...
Which is what she did.
Right. And maybe, she also cried and the whole thing, but, like, maybe there's more than meets the eye, and they obviously know what they're doing. I do think if this was the second season, they would trust the process more. So it would be like, okay, well, I've seen it on a season before that we might not know that these two would actually be a match, but they end up being a match at the end.
Just like on The Bachelor, how they are all just like, well, I'm going to want to forego my separate room and be in the fantasy suite. Nobody doesn't forego their separate. No, everyone goes to the fantasy suite because they know the people did it the year before. And they know they have to tell them they love them that night because that's what the people did the year before. You're right, Jen.
So I think season 2, people will be like, okay, I get how this works. I got to power through it, at least a little bit.
But that's how dating is in real.
Again, if your skin doesn't crawl, I think. Like, I don't know, like, where you're at in your dating life right now.
What do you do in your dating life?
Oh, I'm learning how to date again.
But do you feel like
it's a slow burn, but if I am kind of creeped out by the person, I just instantly don't give them another date. Or I kind of, if they're not... This is bad, like charming or like fun.
Well, that's not bad.
Sometimes that is bad because the charmers are usually the players.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like, then I'll just be like, oh, that was kind of boring, and then I just cut it. But
so you feel like you can't, if you're not feeling it right away, you're like, I can't go on date number 2 or 3.
I force myself.
Do you think third date it's a good rule? Like, try for third date. If you're not feeling it by date number 3. Okay, guys.
Cut your losses.
We know that by date number 3 on this show, I agree. And I feel like maybe after they go on this third date, we're going to finish wrapping up each of the couples, but I don't want to call their like wrap-up session the very next day another date. That's like not another date, is it? It's got to be like the challenge is date number 3. So when we get to that third challenge, we'll see how we feel about where they're all at. You guys, I kind of like that Alma... I don't know, I kind of like her. I feel like they're like the dark horse coming through. I feel like they're going to like each other. They're very open. He, I think, is going to end up kind of liking her. And she is like, I need to be open. And why wouldn't I like this guy? I just feel like, I don't know, I feel good about them.
I feel like they have the most potential out of the
You do.
previous two. Yeah.
So they're
They
we
need to
do
go
see
dance
previews though of them like fighting and her slamming a door, but like maybe that's something unrelated. They do have phones.
Oh yeah.
So maybe personal lives get in the way too, and like we don't know how that's gonna play out because I'm shocked that they even have a phone because like what if they're just sitting around texting their mom or like not paying attention
Or swiping.
Tinder accounts play a part.
You guys. What if they get caught? Somebody brought up an ex or do I remember hearing something about that? Maybe not. I don't know. Would you like some more wine though? Because
I'm
feel,
good.
Okay, well, I'm just going to keep drinking because I feel like we got to a point that really stressed me out. Yeah, the scenes for the next episode or the season to come was like freaking me out a little.
Someone's still in a relationship?
I don't know. I felt like I saw something about some sort of ex or some. I don't even know. And somebody, I don't know. Maybe I just made that up in my head, but I feel like it's going to come out.
Maybe that could be your prediction.
I don't know.
We'll get there.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to Stephanie and Michael. Their date was the goat anarchy. He had a little baby goat with him, and she walked up to him in Central Park, and like they were like, she was like, "What is going on?" And like we didn't even know, but the goat had a little note attached to him. And they now figured out they needed to take this goat back to this farm where they help rehabilitate goats, and they had to help out at the farm.
Which is, again, not Niagara Falls.
Not Niagara. Can we talk about this
manual
again?
labor.
They were like, you get to shovel manure, and you get to go on a fun ride in a helicopter.
But you know what? I wonder about the choice in dates, if they're going to, like, fluctuate. Like,
Yes.
next time.
I agree.
Ryan and Stephanie are going to have like the worst date, and we see how they do then. Like if we start off strong and romantic, will we then start seeing them crumble when it's like real challenges?
Yeah.
Sort of like in The Bachelor, like they go through this whole show and they are on these great dates and they go back to the real world and then it's like crumbles.
And do they want to sort of trick you and make you feel like Jenna and Kale are just like hell to the no, like I said, but maybe not. Maybe they're going to get an amazing date next time and they're going to like high five each other and be like, oh my God, maybe this can,
maybe that'll bring them together like in the opposite route, like after the fact.
Could be part of the calculations. You never know.
So what do you think of
what do you think of their
Stephanie and Michael?
They seem like they'd be a cute couple, kind of.
Yeah. I do too. I totally do.
They have the same morals, same values.
I wondered
like
they're both spiritual, religious.
I also was like, okay, when they first started showing the beginning of the episode and they were showing random people, like the girl and then another guy, not the couples together, and I was like, remember seeing, Alma is like Latin. She looks Latina of some sort. Like don't know because she didn't say. But I'm like okay. And then you see like a black guy, and then you see the redhead girl, the white chick, and then you see a black girl. And I remember going, are they gonna put the freaking black people together? Like what is that? Is this what they're doing? Because like I totally think they're a cute couple. Like I could match other people with him. I think he's super hot. But I'm like, what? I don't know. I don't know if I was off-put by the fact that the two black people on the show were dating each other. I'm like, do we?
Well, maybe they in their interviews said like being with someone that is similar to them in that way.
Maybe
looking
like
for.
interest, like nationality interest, like
and maybe it was totally coincidental.
Yeah. It could have been.
It could have been coincidental. I'm sorry, but the only two people that are black on the show are dating. I'm like, is that? But they're super spiritual. You guys. Was anybody off put by her? They're both spiritual. Was anybody off put by anybody's spirituality? I was.
That was not my issue with them.
I felt as though they're both openly spiritual, but I felt as though her openness about her spirituality was way more harsh than his. And when you're talking about religion or politics or things like that, I think that there has to be a sense of grace in presenting those things, and I think she lacked that. And it's sort of also that is kind of her personality. She's more strong than him, and while they do have commonalities, she just presents herself, and religion is one of those things, in a more harsh way. So I was kind of like, whoa, okay, we get it. You're like religious and okay, like she just
like a little bit more condescending about it.
Totally. She led with that, and I was kind of like, I get it. But like anything, it doesn't have to be about religion. It can be anything. It could be your job, anything.
She also then was very open about the fact that she's bad at communicating, that usually she breaks up with the people and they don't break up with her and they don't see it coming.
Oh my God.
She writes notes to communicate to men too.
Right.
That's what
so
she
like
said.
she's also, I feel like, putting up a really strong wall.
Yeah.
And like sort of telling him all the like negative qualities about her, but she's like positioning them as positive, but like it's really like negative, but it's kind of positive. And
but
it's
she's yes, you're right. She's presenting them also to also say like, well, this is me,
right,
kind of a thing.
Like I feel like she's trying to push him away.
Yeah.
Or test him, and he happens to be handling her really well. So I do think that they actually might be a match because like he tolerates her personality, and she like likes him there, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. It seems like it's kind of like a guard, like her insecurity.
Yes.
Like, oh shoot, this is a cute guy. He has a lot of things going for him. This might get serious. Like, it's not just me dating a player. It's like someone that's legit I might end up with. And
totally.
Walls go up.
Totally. Yeah. Like she's instantly protecting as long as he, right off the bat, as long as he's religious, she's like, she's a not a preacher's daughter, she's a minister's daughter, and she is like just like, so that check that off the list. Now she can actually talk to him. So we get to the part, right?
Thank the Lord.
Like that's you know that she said that right away. She goes, "Oh, thank the Lord." I think that was the first thing out of her mouth. Oh, thank the Lord. And I felt like it was so put out there on purpose to be like, I'm going to say something about the Lord so we can open that door and talk about it. And then they started talking about it. But what did you guys think about the part where they had to get into the car to drive the goat back to the farm, and he, to me, listen, this is interpretation, but he was like, so I'm gonna drive, and she was like, what? I'm a woman, and so you don't want me to drive? I was like, whoa!
Right.
Like she took a comment, in my opinion, and spun it around like instant. She was like defensive instantly, and I didn't take it. Did you take it that way?
No, I was more actually, I mean, I didn't think that it was offensive. I don't know her or her weirdness about that and being a woman and what she's faced, and maybe she just has a chip on her shoulder. But I do think it's a strange thing to say when you don't know somebody or their like intentions by the way they say certain things.
Right.
But I was really horrified by the conversation about STDs.
Oh, so that's the next day. So they did this goat thing. They had this fun. They ended up having a fun time. The goats were really super cute.
Really cute. It wasn't the worst thing ever.
Oh, and they were cute, and they were like the ones with the little wheels on their legs so they could walk, because the bubbies had their legs were hurt. It was cute, and goats are cute. Anyway, and their cloven hooves and all that. So then they're in the hotel room, and they look kind of cute together, taking pictures, and you're kind of like, oh, maybe these two can kind of like, they look really cute next to each other. And then the next day, so they all kind of had a wrap up the next day. P.S. Let's just go back for 1 second. Kale and Jenna talking about politics. So they did this, right? They like injected these really polarizing topics, and we find out that Jenna just didn't vote, she knows who the president and the vice president is, and she's like, that's about it. And this guy's like, I'm so political, and I
can't stand her, but maybe she'll learn a lot from him.
She is like, she's like giving it to him hard, and he's just like taking deep breaths and going, she's like, deal breaker, huh? And he's like, kind of. He's trying so hard. Anyway, they start talking about STDs. Now they talked about religion. We get to this point.
Did someone prompt them to say that? I'm like, why would you talk about this?
Came out of nowhere with that.
That's a scripted move.
You guys,
STDs,
did anybody else? I completely felt like I was like, if someone asked me that right away, I would be offended.
Well, for several reasons. One, do I look like I have STDs? Two, are you trying to have sex with me tomorrow or tonight? Like, why are we talking about this now? Three, have you never read a book about romance, like, or seen any kind of romantic comedy? Have you never been on a date before? Are you new?
I don't care if this is an expediting process. They are the ones that brought that up more than once. But you guys, even if she had an STD, you're going to now judge her on the fact that she had an STD. Who cares if she was a freaking slut and had sex with everybody and got an STD? That's her prerogative. Also, what if she was dating someone for 5 years and he cheated on her and gave her an STD? We don't know how this happened. So don't just ask someone some super personal question about an STD. And she was even like, no. And he was like, oh, thank God. It was like they both had this stigma attached to it. It's like, it happens. People get STDs. Like, that doesn't mean now they're a bad person or whatever. Anyway, well, they both felt the same about it. So.
Yeah, I would guess though that the screening process also rules that out. Like, that's going back to The Bachelor, just because it's the only thing we can compare it to.
They do that.
They do screen for STDs because they don't want people coming out of there and suing the company and saying like, you put me on a show with all these people.
ABC, you gave me the HIV.
Right. Yeah. So I have a feeling, especially with traveling, it's not like there's other people around. Like, they're gonna only hook up with each other probably, or maybe not. Who knows? Because they're in cities, so maybe they meet other people. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a very strange conversation to be had on day 2.
But then also he is very calculated, so who knows? Probably a little nerdy. So so calculated in how he talks to girls.
You guys, I forget. What does he do for a living? Did
Kale?
Kale. You're talking about Kale because he's a lawyer.
Oh, no, yeah. But I'm talking
Michael.
Yes,
Michael.
You know what? Why don't we know what he does or her?
Was he an entrepreneur?
Yeah, which means a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, which means, what does that mean? It's like, so you're a bartender in LA. That's what you are.
He was a free agent and could go on the show for a month.
You're a slashy. You're an actor slash bartender slash dancer slash
Uber driver.
Yeah.
Or
Uber driver.
We might find out he's like a super tech entrepreneur, and we just it's gonna be like undercover millionaire or something.
He would. If anybody was doing that, it would be him. He seems the most humble out of all of them.
He's like super low key.
You guys, if you could date anybody on the show right now, who would it be?
Don't come back. Don't come to me last. I can't.
Probably Michael.
Yeah,
because the one that's dating the Stephanie. Yeah.
Me too.
Just because he seems like low key, nothing to prove, easygoing.
Yep.
She seems like she's going to be the control freak.
Totally.
So,
but maybe he wants that.
Yeah, maybe he does. Some guys like that.
Mm-hmm. I would date Michael.
Yeah.
I think I would too, because to me right now, Ryan, Mike, and Kayla are all kind of interchangeable.
Oh my God. Okay, my next would be.
They seem really similar and bland.
Mike would be in my next one because he has big biceps and he's from New York, so I kind of like that.
Does he have a lisp?
No, I don't think so.
I'm just asking.
His eyebrows are definitely shaped. They're definitely shaped.
Oh,
they're not microbladed, but they're shaped.
He's a pretty boy.
I do like his big biceps, though, and I like that he's from New York, and he seems kind of like he's got a little swag.
Maybe they thought he'd be like Jersey Shore-ish, and she would be like her version of that from like another place. And, like, I don't know, together they'd be a perfect like sassy match. I don't know.
They're gonna gym tan laundry together off into a sunset.
They should maybe.
I mean, you guys, are they gonna take them to like far away, like exotic places? I really hope so.
I really don't know, but I think we have some advice for our listeners.
Yes, we
today.
do. Would you like what Jen? You go for it.
I
got
will
some advice.
start, guys.
Yes, do it.
I think we should all be open-minded.
Yes.
When dating, and take a lesson from the show, because maybe you're doing a weird activity that makes somebody weird, or maybe somebody's shy on the first
on the date. Yes.
Yeah, or maybe
I'm like, what weird activities are you doing?
You're judging somebody because they're not what you normally date, but like they have these qualities you've been looking for that like on physical terms they're not that, but like you might see some like layers revealed if you give them a chance.
Like, let's say for example, you're like 5'2" in real life, but you only want to date guys that are like 6'5". Jen, maybe if you came across a guy that was like 5'10" and a half, you should maybe be more open-minded,
right?
Well, if I came across a guy who in person came up to me and presented themselves in a way that maybe I related to, then I will give them a chance. Again, I date usually from dating apps, which doesn't give you any kind of chemistry.
Which ones?
Oh, just all of them. But you know,
yes.
I just
we've been on all the dating.
We're gonna go with
the same people too.
Yes, exactly. We're gonna go with that's our advice for you guys is to be open-minded. Like we are gonna be open-minded about the show because it's the first season.
Yep.
And we're gonna see what happens. It's
I
gonna
agree.
be really exciting.
Open-minded is the name of the game. Chemistry clearly is a real thing. That's what this show is, and don't ignore that. But also be open-minded. Sometimes chemistry comes with the slow burn, right? And you don't know what the package it's going to come in.
No.
Open-minded is the way to go. Okay, we're gonna predict some things now, you guys. Are you ready? I mean, I know we already made like a million predictions, but like, it's time for some lighting.
AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
And some predictions. All right, I am gonna save mine for last because I already feel like I've done a million and I need to think of another. So
Okay, well, Stacey.
yeah,
I think Stephanie and Ryan will probably get closer. I think we'll see more of their romance, grow. I think, what's her name? Stephanie and Michael, the Stephanie and Michael.
the goat couple.
I think she's just going to become more dominant over him and try to control and like. I just see that going bad.
I actually predict, I'm going to piggyback on that just because you're talking about them.
Yeah.
I actually think the opposite. I think her tough exterior is going to come down.
Really?
I think she's going to lean on him, or some weird shit's going to happen in her personal life. And then like we're going to see her like actual softer side, because under that there's got to be, especially if she's spiritual, she is not so hard.
Yeah.
That is just a front.
Totally.
So I think we're going to see her crumble a little bit and start showing her true colors, which might be somebody that needs love.
okay. I am going to predict that Alma and Mike are going to start to get a little bit more romantic and sexy in this next episode. And I think that we are going to see couple number 1, Stephanie and Ryan, like really be like 2 school kids around each other in this next episode. And I am going to say Alma and Mike are going to sneak in as the dark horse. And I think overall, Jenna and Kale are going to be pretty good at challenges together. I think they're going to figure out how to make it work. I definitely do not think that they are going to. I'm going to say, again, they are not going to end up together. And if they do, I will take shots of tequila and do other things because it's not happening. Yes. That's my overall prediction.
If you guys are also listening and watching, then you should think of some things to make Lauren do, because if she's wrong, you can weigh in. Feel free to add opportunities.
I will do it. It's not going to happen, but I will do it. I will take your challenge and I will challenge that challenge with it's not happening. So I'm not even worried about it. All of those things.
Up with all that.
So we are excited to see what happens next week. The show is actually really intriguing. It's a great idea. It is totally expediting this love process. And I think we're definitely going to see some surprises for sure. And also some drama. Come on, you guys.
And some cool like travel experiences.
Oh yeah, it's gonna make you want to like go. I want to go to Niagara Falls and do that thing now. I don't want to do this goat. Well, the goat thing was cute, but you know what I mean. It's like I don't care about spray painting a wall and like all those other things. And a food tour. Well, a food tour would be good, but not that. Things. Not those things. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening and watching. And we will see you next week for more of our favorite couples. You can find us on all the socials at.
You can find me at Jenifer Golden on all the platforms out there.
And I'm Stacey Olivas. You can find me all over social media at Stacey Olivas. Oh, this show is so addicting already.
It's so addicting already. You can find me at Lauren Leonelli on all the social medias. And we will see you guys next week for our Love at First Flight after show. Yay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.